My name is Olivia. I'm 30 years old, and I live in a cozy little apartment with my mom. Life hasn't always been a walk in the park, but we've always found our happiness together. We lost my dad when I was 15. Ever since then, it's been just the two of us, a team. Mom worked tirelessly, day in and day out, to give me a shot at a better life. She was, and is, my everything. More than just my mother, she's my best friend. Every evening, after dinner, we'd settle into our living room and just talk about our days. Even when she was dog-tired, Mom always had a smile ready. That smile of hers? Deus, oh. It was like my personal superpower, giving me strength whenever I needed it. I work as a teacher at the local elementary school. I adore my students. They're bright, funny, and full of energy. But no matter how much I love teaching, a part of my heart was always back home, worrying about Mom. She was getting older, and her health was starting to worry me. Some days, she was so weak, she couldn't even get out of bed. I wanted to do more for her, to give her the world, but my teacher's salary could only stretch so far. Then, one day, I came home from school and found her on the floor. My breath hitched in my chest. I rushed to her side, grabbing her hand. "Mom, wake up," I pleaded, my voice cracking. Her face was pale, and her hands felt like ice. Panic set in. I dialed 911, my hands shaking, and soon, sirens wailed in the distance as the ambulance arrived to take her to the hospital. The doctor's face was grave when he spoke to me. "Your mother's heart is very weak," he said gently. "She needs surgery, but it's a very expensive procedure." My eyes welled up with tears. Expensive? I didn't have that kind of money. Helplessness washed over me in a cold wave. Night after night, I sat by her hospital bed, holding her hand, whispering prayers that she would stay with me. "Please don't leave me, Mom," I'd whisper, tears streaming down my face. Days turned into weeks. I threw myself into work, picking up extra tutoring gigs, any extra hours I could find. Every penny went into a jar, but it felt like trying to fill a bathtub with a teaspoon. It just wasn't enough. One evening, walking home from a particularly long day, the sky opened up and rain started to pour. I didn't have an umbrella, and I was soaked to the bone in minutes. I felt utterly exhausted and defeated. I was trying so hard to be strong, but fear gnawed at me. What if I lost her? When I finally reached my apartment building, there was a letter sticking out of my mailbox. No return address. Curiosity and a sliver of hope made my hands tremble as I opened it. Inside, there was a simple handwritten note, "For your mother's surgery. Take care of her." And with the note, there was a stack of cash, $20,000. My heart pounded in my chest. $20,000? Who would do this? Why? I was completely bewildered, but in that moment, all that mattered was that it was enough. Enough to save my mom. Class. The very next day, armed with hope and a newfound sense of possibility, I took my mother back to the hospital. The surgery was long, agonizingly so. I paced the waiting room, praying harder than I ever had in my life for a miracle. Hours crawled by. Finally, the doctor emerged, a tired but gentle smile on his face. "The surgery was successful," he announced softly. Your mother is going to be okay." Relief washed over me so intensely, it almost buckled my knees. Tears of pure joy streamed down my face. I practically ran to her room and took her hand in mine. "You're safe, Mom," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. A week later, Mom was back home. Her smile was slowly returning, warmer and brighter each day. Life was gradually getting back to normal, but the mystery of the anonymous donor still lingered in my mind. Who was our secret benefactor? Months passed, and I never found out who had sent the money. But one ordinary day, while I was in the middle of a lesson, a man appeared at my classroom door. He introduced himself as Daniel. He was tall, with a quiet demeanor and incredibly kind eyes. "I wanted to meet the teacher who changed my sister's life," he explained. Then it clicked. I remembered his sister, Sarah, a shy girl who had struggled in my class the previous year. I had spent extra time with her, offering encouragement and support when she needed it most. "It was you," I said softly, understanding dawning. "You helped my mother." He smiled, a gentle, genuine smile. "You gave kindness so freely, without expecting anything in return," he said. I wanted to do the same. That day, our paths crossed in a way I never could have imagined. And gradually, Daniel became more than just a stranger, more than just a thank you. He became a friend. He started visiting regularly, bringing flowers for Mom, and offering words of encouragement to me. As the weeks turned into months, Daniel became a part of our lives. He'd visit every weekend, always with something thoughtful, fresh fruit for Mom, a new book for me, or just his warm, comforting presence. Mom adored him. I could see it in the way her face lit up when he walked through the door. One evening, after dinner, Mom smiled at Daniel and said, "Daniel, you take care of us like family." He chuckled softly. "You both mean a lot to me," he replied. His eyes met mine for a fleeting moment, and my heart did a little skip. After Mom went to bed, Daniel stayed to help me with the dishes. The kitchen was quiet, the only sound the gentle clinking of plates and the running water. As I handed him a plate to dry, he spoke, his voice softer than usual. "Olivia," he began, "I didn't just help your mother because of what you did for my sister." I turned to face him, a question in my eyes. "Then why? Time was sanitars and trying to go," I asked quietly. He looked down for a moment, as if searching for the right words. "Because I care about you, Olivia." His voice was warm, but tinged with a hint of uncertainty. "From the first day I saw you at the school, I knew there was something special about you. Your kindness, your strength. I couldn't just walk away knowing you were hurting." For a moment, I was speechless. My heart felt full, yet also heavy with a familiar fear. I had lost so much before. Was it safe to open my heart again? "You don't have to say anything now," he added quickly, seeing the hesitation in my eyes. "I just wanted you to know how I feel." I nodded slowly, unsure how to respond. My heart was overflowing with gratitude, but my mind was still guarded, afraid of losing someone else I might come to love. Weeks turned into months, and Daniel remained steadfast. He was patient, never pushing me for an answer. Instead, he simply stayed by my side, a constant source of support through Mom's continued recovery, my long days at school, and my moments of lingering doubt. One evening, Mom and I were sitting on our little porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of soft orange and pink. She turned to me, her eyes gentle and knowing. "Olivia," she said softly, "you are strong, so incredibly strong. But you don't have to carry everything alone, you know." Her words resonated deep within me, unlocking something I hadn't realized I was holding on to. I realized how much I had been holding back, how much I longed to trust again, to let someone in. The next time Daniel came over, I asked him if he'd like to take a walk with me. We strolled through the park, the crisp autumn leaves crunching under our feet. My heart pounded with a mix of nervousness and anticipation as I finally spoke. Daniel," I said softly, my voice a little shaky, "I'm scared to let someone in again. But I don't want to lose you." He stopped walking and turned to face me, his gaze warm and full of understanding. "You won't lose me, Olivia," he promised, his voice firm and reassuring. "I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." For the first time in a long time, I felt truly safe. I reached for his hand, and he took mine gently, as if sensing the fragility of my heart. Months melted into a year, and our love blossomed, growing stronger with each passing day. Mom's health continued to improve, and I found myself smiling more freely, more genuinely than I had in years. With Daniel by my side, the weight of the past seemed lighter, easier to bear. Then, one evening after dinner, Daniel stood up, a slightly nervous but excited look in his eyes. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. My heart leaped into my throat as he knelt down on one knee in front of me. "Olivia," he said softly, his voice filled with emotion, "you taught me that kindness can change a life. You changed mine. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in my eyes, but this time they were tears of pure, unadulterated joy. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. "Yes," I whispered, finally finding my voice. "Yes, Daniel, I will." Mom clapped her hands with delight, her face beaming. And Daniel slipped the ring onto my finger. In that moment, surrounded by love and hope, I realized something profound. Life had knocked me down, had broken my heart once before, but love, in its most unexpected and beautiful form, had found me again. And this time, I was not afraid to hold on tight.